the show. Do I? Yo,
Be in the place to be, bro.
we're there. We're there. All right, that answers that
Yeah,
question.
it
They
certainly
ain't
does.
they ain't getting the behind the scenes. Well, maybe they were. Maybe they got a second of the behind the scenes.
It's possible, quite possible.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know what? You know what I was gonna do, Jay Cruz?
What's
I
up,
was just,
brother?
I was just gonna do this.
And there it is.
And there it is. It took the words out of my mouth. How you doing, Quo?
I'm doing fantastic, bro. How you doing?
I'm doing okay, man. You know what? You know what's funny is I was listening to that music right there, and last week on your wedding week,
That's right.
congratulations again,
Thank you,
Jay
my man.
Cruz,
Thank
showing
you.
off the hardware. I like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, you know.
Last week on your wedding week, yo, we let that run, that intro. We did the alternative universe version. You know, the one I'm speaking of, the one with the lyrics.
I do.
Yeah, man, it was pretty cool. We got to hear a little Jay Cruz. It was like you never left. So
That's
that
right.
was
And I did show up a couple times, which was cool.
absolutely you did. Absolutely you did. We knew we couldn't keep you away, to be honest with you. So
Nah, wifey did too. She's like, I love you so much. Go do your thing.
yeah, no doubt. I knew it was
Yeah.
happening. There was no
Yeah.
way to stop you.
Nah,
You know.
really.
And big shout out. I want to send a shout out to Kath for holding it down last week.
Mm-hmm.
She was absolutely making certain that the J Cruz vibe was in the place, being the true fam in the building as well. So that was
That's
that
right.
was that was nice. We're gonna have her back soon too, right?
Yeah, I believe next weekend.
Very
So
dope.
next Friday, yes.
Very very dope. They
Should be
say.
cool, man.
Yeah, man. So crazy week for you, man. So any changes in the now that it's official? Like what's the new prognosis now?
Doing a lot better this year than last year as far as everything, and that's always the goal. But it's just cool being able to say wifey,
Yeah.
officially.
Official.
And then that
Official.
Jennifer Silver,
Official.
the
Official,
name,
unofficial.
yeah, very, very official.
The name
So
change,
yeah,
all
man,
that
it was
stuff's done?
the name change. That's the process. We're still gonna work on that, and then insurances change and all that stuff. So it's good,
No doubt.
But yeah, man, it's definitely love at first sight type thing. So I'm glad that it went down the way it did, and my grandmother got to see it. She got to see it through FaceTime, which was cool. The paperwork process was quite lengthy, but
Was it really?
yeah,
Okay.
about an hour,
Okay.
hour and a half.
Okay.
And the ceremony with the JP, 3 minutes. It was done.
What?
Yeah, it was quick.
Why don't more people do this? Like, I mean, I got married. You know what I mean? I understand it's a big thing, and you got to kind of do it. But when you compare like cost and time efficiency, man.
Yeah,
it's like-
I mean, and at the same sense, it's the I think the bride being able to pick their dress and have that whole feeling and everybody sitting down. I get that, and she will get that because she deserves it.
Right,
But
no doubt.
for the time being, you prioritize what's more important right now: the wedding and having a huge wedding or getting a house. So
No doubt.
that's how that goes.
Changes are in the air, man. And yo, I hate to talk about the weather too much, but I always need to do it and keep the people, abreast of the situation. But, like out here in the D.C. area, man, it's been kind of lovely these last 4 days. You've been getting a taste of it out there.
Our
But-
first taste of spring this past few days. Yes,
Yeah, a little Boston spring coming. So
we hit 70 yesterday.
Did you? Oh, I didn't know that. I thought it was
Yeah.
like 60. All right, cool.
It started off cloudy and gloomy, and then as soon as the clouds broke, it warmed right up. So it was nice. You know, it was real nice.
Absolutely.
But we're gonna be cold for the rest of the week, and then hopefully it'll pump back up. You know,
It looks like you have some sort of warm spirits in the cup. I mean, what's is the cup keeping you warm or keeping you cold? All right. Okay. No doubt.
Yeah.
Just checking. Just checking.
Absolutely. That black silk, man. I'm telling you, I live by it. And
I've never drank in my life, so I don't know.
I know. And I just, it took a long time for me to come around to the coffee people's world, and when I finally did, it was great.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's for you, man. That's for you. You know what? Though my vice right here, kind of the official sponsorship of Pro, if not Quo. I've been drinking heavy water lately, but I'm going back, man, to this diet caffeine-free Coke. I gotta break the habit. It's the only one I got. So
yeah,
it's not the only one.
But I see. Like I drink nothing but water and coffee. The majority of my fluids are that. I have a little bit of like iced tea occasionally that she makes.
Right.
But I'm not a soda person really. I like having it occasionally as like a treat.
Sir.
But that's what adds the weight. So. But yo, what's up with this verse though, man?
Well, actually, that's what I want to talk to you about. So, we've been doing this thing every now and then. We've been trying to get into it more regularly. That really breaks down, right? That's the key word, the operative word. It breaks down sort of the lyricism of what we do on the Pro Quo side when it's not doing the ProQuo Show, but when we're doing Pro Quo, the MCs, right? And so that's what I want to talk to you about. So I want to hear you break down basically our intro. So that intro song right there is part of a song called Chandeliers. And I got that up. And what I'm going to do is let that run one time. And then I'm going to go into that little intro there for Break It Down. Because what we're about to do is break it down the right way. All right. And we're going to have Jay Cruz break down his portion. I'm going to try to break down my portion. We're going to try to do this very timely and efficiently. Condense it to let people know. As always on a Pro Quo Show, we always try to give you the behind the scenes, right, of what it's like and what the process is. So that's what we're going to try to do. So without further ado, let's jump into it. I'm going to get into Chandeliers.
Produced by Nico LP2 out of France.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, lyrical. It's how we do, it's how we do. Yeah, it's how we do, it's how we do. Extravagant. It's how we do, it's how we do. Y'all know locale. It's how we do, it's how we do. Pro is that soloist known to go from assistant to associate. Started flowing with quote cause the fit it was so appropriate. Plus we got a show for them citizens, dope as opiates. Progressive programming, promoting artists, exposing them. Y'all Nickelodeon, rapping salty as sodium. We'll Pro be giving our quotes for keynote in these auditoriums. My Barcelona, Olympic gold at the podium. Now say that bar slower and notice what Pro be showing you. The most provocative co-host, cooperative, brother, father to motherhood, supportive of all our goddesses. The flow's positive, provoking these novices to go from pro bono to closing concerts and conferences. Giving the audience everything that they ought to get. Autographs, automatic, in person, virtually holographs. It's no doubt until Gwen Stefani, no holler back. Singing like chandeliers till we reappear like the Pontiacs. Playboy. It's how we do, it's how we do. It's how we do, it's how we do. Singing like chandeliers. It's how we do, it's how we do. Chandeliers after millions. It's how we do. Chandeliers. Crystallize. Yeah, reminiscing on these memories. Benediction while I am presently switching on all of my enemies. Kill that, they have my melodies. It's real rap around parentheses. Chill back, switch these energies. Rems lap, learning chemistry. Watch the imagery, a new path. Grown men defending family. Boom back, we marching heavily. The canvas on some simile, like canvas late for Timothy. The candles lit, so when the lights quit, we shining definitely. Chills in every breath of me. I play your body symphony. Check the crowd, walk your destiny. Twice the man I'm meant to be. Every bar send a piece. Pick it off the lemon tree. Authentically involved with my identity. That's why you ate the fruit. Pro said I'm the truth. That's a doctor dropping sign, so you know the math compute. The magician laid my foundation, built me out the booth, raised the roof. Cathedral ceilings in my feelings, chandeliers after millions. Lyrical engineers, architect appealing. Amazed by the children, affected by the flow that I've been given. Selected by the polls, facts and opinions. Measure what you stole, unload, you forgiven. The shades drawn, stop banking on a wish. Escape the hustle that was carrots on a fist. It's lettuce on a plate, rent paid up to date. 401k, 6'5", the escape. The safe net ain't a tape debt. It's what you doing on your break. When you laying in your room and permanently contemplate. Or throw your finger up and live the life you trying to make. Pro Quo. It's how we do, it's how we do. It's how we do, it's how we do. It's how we do, it's how we do. Chandeliers after millions. How we do. Chandeliers.
Had to hit him with that official intro.
That was the official intro. I don't know if we run that one time through so far at some point. Have we given it? So. I think we have, right?
We probably definitely did.
Got you.
I don't know if they ever got the final version like that one. I mean, that's the closest. That's a 90%er right there.
There you go, 90% done. Well, here we go.
I'm a killer, like the loud, I'm kamikaze. Salute the chief, the click deep like astrology. Rebuke the meek.
Break it
down.
All right,
my people, let's break it down. Chandeliers, how we do. So the title's cool too because Chandeliers was one of the first records I did with my people back in the day in Leominster. We went by Drama Squad, ROC, Red October Crew, some teenage stuff. And it was just we liked Chandeliers, we knew what they were and stuff, but it was like, us just practicing to become better. But on this one here, that's why I start off with reminiscing on my memories. I'm thinking about that and thinking about the past, benediction, where I am presently, where I changed, moved forward to, all the bad to the good. And switching on all of my enemies, kill that. They half my melodies. You can't forget that past, that bad, and even the bad people that helped design who you are today. That's how I feel about that.
No doubt.
And then it's real rap around parentheses, chill back, switch these energies. So the energy of hip hop is so powerful, and it's in everything that I do when I'm thinking about these rhymes and these thoughts, And biggest thing was Remy, having that daughter come into my life, and that's why the next line, Rem's lap learning chemistry, watch your imagery, a new pap, grown men defending family, boom bap, we marching heavily. So that's like a really complex brotherhood line right there.
Right.
Grown man music, parents taking care of what we say and project into the atmosphere, both with our energy and with our verbal talents.
Speak on it.
Yeah, brother. And we marching heavy as the team continues to grow every day, which is beautiful. And the canvas on some simile, back to the brotherhood, like the canvas laid for Timothy, who's my cousin, who's an incredible artist. So that's just saying like fine art is what that is.
Word, okay.
And the candle's lit, so when the lights quit, we shine indefinitely. Like that, you have to light the candle. The candle don't just light itself.
Okay.
And to me, the candle is that ancient ancestry line kind of thing where it's in your soul, kind of relates to that, and keeping it lit, that's the quest.
Keep the fire burning.
Keep it burning. Chills in every breath of me. I play your body symphony. Check the choir, walk your destiny. Twice the man I meant to be.
You said that. I wrote it wrong when I was writing down the lyric once. I thought you said qual. I was like, oh, you said choir? Is that what you're saying?
Choir.
You really dropping that R Boston. Man.
Yeah, that was the, you could
showing all that
now.
Boston.
Choir.
That's the choir. All right. Thank you for clearing that up.
Yeah. So that's all. Just saying that, with the way I feel about what other people have said to me, like, yo, chills, you give me chills when I hear you, that kind of thing.
Yo, no doubt.
Play your body symphony. That's really what that is. Just a kind of a punchline, I guess. And then twice the man I meant to be. I saw myself as one way as a kid, and I've grown into be way more than I thought mentally, which is where it all starts. Yeah. So every bar is centerpiece. Again, it's like my best work at all times, every time I'm doing something. And then pick it off the lemon tree, which is like when you hear it, that's sour, right? Because I'm from Leominster, Lemon-Town, and that ties into that. And authentically involved with my identity, just saying, like, because I keep it real. The motto that we grew up with in the 90s. And that's why you ate the fruit. That's why you was tasting it. You're like, you know what? I know it's a lemon, but I'm still going to eat it.
Yeah.
Go on with it,
Leominster.
And then one of my favorite lines. Yeah, shout out Leominster. Pro said, I'm the truth. That's a doctor dropping signs so you know the math compute. I don't need to say anything more than that.
I got you there.
The magician laid my foundation, built me out the booth, raised the roof. That shout out to my man Lenny Thompson, who sparred with me for years to help develop my skill, and it was much appreciated. A lot of hard work in those days. And then you know, the dream, cathedral ceilings in my feelings, chandeliers after millions, like, you know, living the life and being rewarded for what you've done with your art and stuff like that. Sure. Lyrical engineers, architect appealing, amazed by the children, affected by the flow that I've been given. Just again, realizing that what you say is powerful, and the youth, if they're paying attention to you, what are you telling them? You know, that's kind of a eye-opening thing right there. And then select the polls, facts and opinions, measure what you stole, unload, you forgiven, like, be true, get the, you know, the right people around you, get rid of all the bad stuff. And if you do that, you're good.
Word. I forgot you're a 24 bar in this one. I was like, yo, this thing's longer than I thought. Yeah, that's why.
I'm trying to speed it.
No, it's all good. I forgot. You got to do it right. You got to do it right.
The shades drawn, stop banking on the wish. You can't, you know, laying by your bedside with your hands like this, doing no action doesn't get you to those cathedral ceilings.
Yes, sir.
And, you know, escape the hustle. That was carrots on a fist when that was all of what it was about. You know, let's make the money. So it's not that. Because it's way more than just the money.
Right.
But when you start having your dinner and you got lettuce with your dinner, like a salad, it's lettuce on the plate, rent paid up to date, real man things, grown man things, providing for your family.
Yeah.
And this line's cool. 401k, 6.5 the escape. Like usually 65 you retire.
When you out. Yeah. I had to hear the song like 3 times to catch that. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's that's the real like surface of it, but the behind is like the 6 to 5 hour work week, like a work day was my escape, being able to work 5 to 6 hours a day.
That's dope.
You know, yeah, that's why I didn't say 65. I wanted to say 6.5.
Got you.
And the safe net ain't the tape deck. It's that work that you put in. What you're doing on your break when you're laying in your room and permanently contemplated, do you get up and do something?
You make it happen.
And then throw your finger up and live the life you're trying to make. That's probably the best thing to do sometimes.
Yeah,
you know? Just
absolutely.
And there it is, chandeliers, Quo's verse.
Dope, man, dope. Yo, I got a couple messages to my direct thing, something about our feed. I'm not sure. The feed's feeding, but I'm not sure about the comments. So you might want to try it now. It appears that it might be working, but I think some of the destinations tonight aren't working on the comments. But if you hit us individually, try us maybe maybe through YouTube as opposed through through Facebook. Our easiest YouTube, we made a little tiny URL for it, so it's tinyurl.com/the ProQuo Show. It's one easy way to find it. Try Hip Hop Citizens too, but we see them internally, but I don't think people are seeing it. They're not projecting to the screen, so we'll have to check on that. But anyways, that's all good. We know you're out there watching, so we appreciate it. Let me try to do what you did. So in my verse, I come in, I say, Pro is that soloist. And so for me, just to give a little background, is that this song has an intro feeling. When those horns come in, we've always kind of known this will either be an intro or like a secondary intro in the album. And, right now it's slated in that first position. So I wanted to come in with sort of that mindset. When those horns blast, it's like, how do you know me? What's my introduction to Pro Quo? And I'm like, Pro has been that soloist, And I've been doing my own work, and it's like went from assistant to associate. That's assistant professor when I was in Boston to associate out here in D.C. Started flowing with Quo because the fit was so appropriate. So now I'm bringing you into the introduction. Now talking about the show. Plus we got a show from the Citizens. We here on Citizens, Hip Hop Citizens. Shout out to them. Dope as opiates. There you go. Progressive programming, promoting artists, exposing them. That's what we do. Y'all Nickelodeon rap, it's almost like kids, you know what I'm saying? Nickelodeon has double meaning because there's a real thing, and Nickelodeon is like a game. Y'all Nickelodeon rap is salty as sodium. Y'all salty, right? As pros giving out quotes, not the quotes like Quo King gives you those dope quotes, but quotes for like how much it'll cost to bring me to your auditorium kind of bar, My bars alone are Olympic gold at the podium. Now say that bar slower and notice what Pro be showing you.
Barcelona?
Yeah. And so the ad-libs is Barcelona. So it's Barcelona was where the Olympics were, right? My Barcelona, Olympic gold at the podium. Now say that bar slower and notice what Pro be showing you. So I was excited about that one when I wrote that one. The most provocative co-host, me and Quo, cooperative brother. Yeah, we're talking about the brotherhood. Fathers, right? To motherhood, and we ain't leaving out the sister just because it's called brotherhood, right? We want that representation on there. father to motherhood, supportive of all our goddesses. The flow's positive, provoking these novices. You know, again, talking about people just starting, and where we want y'all and us, right, collectively, to go from just kind of maybe doing a show for free, or maybe on some return later, that pro bono, to closing concerts at conferences, right, being that feature person that people are coming to see. So giving our audience everything that they ought to get, autographs, that's automatic in person. But now we're virtually, all right, it's holographs. It's like me and Jay on the screen, kind of. That's no doubt on some Gwen Stefani, No Holla Back. Obviously, that was her song. And then I say, see ya, like chandeliers. See ya made chandeliers till we reappear like the Pontiac. And the Pontiac, by the way, is coming back. The Firebird and all that stuff's coming back this year, supposedly. So we'll see. Yeah, and the Phoenix rising from the ashes. I always equate the Phoenix and the Pontiac is similar too. So that's that. So,
that verse is so hard, man.
Thanks, man. Likewise, man. You we push each other, you know what I'm saying? And
definitely
pushing each other is great. We both are definitely in similar lanes, but we do different things, you know. And so the more you're around somebody, the more you work with them, they will definitely enter into your cipher. You will enter into theirs, and then that's where that chemistry really comes. Yeah. So dope stuff. Yo, big and time. I want to give a shout out to a guest that we had up here last week. We've been talking with all day. We were up on their show. They returned the favor, checking them out on Sunday. But big shout out to Preacher. And I want to give a shout out to my man Miguel. We've been building with them. They've been, speaking of pushing, that's what I was thinking, because they're like feeling a couple of the tracks, and they're trying to be like, yo, what can we do to maximize these? You know what I'm saying? Like, tweak and push us to get out the A game. You know what I'm saying?
It's really cool, man. And that, you know, it's again, this whole process is just linked us with so many like-minded people and great, big-hearted people. And there's nothing like that. You know, people that are happy. Right. Going for their goals. You know, when you start to deal with that, you don't want anything else in your
Yes, sir.
You know, so shout out to y'all for real. And
yes, sir.
Great building with y'all.
Yes, sir. Yo, so I was following this Grammys a little bit, right? This Grammys is coming up, right? So Quo and I, off the record, we were talking about early in the year. I was like, yo, if it wasn't for COVID, I probably would want to have hit out this year. Check out the Grammys. I'd never been. I was supposed to go a year ago. Shout out to NV out there in LA. We were talking about going, and I got like I'm like a Grammy voting person. I'm in the Academy or whatever, and I haven't really kept up to date with it this year. But a couple years ago when I had some stuff out, I went through like the nomination process or whatever, and it was a learning process. Didn't understand quite how it works, and like any kind of award show, whatever, it's a lot of politic and posturing and posing to get people to vote for you, to nominate you and this stuff. So I had an a cappella album out that was in position to potentially be nominated. It didn't ultimately get nominated, but it was in the running to be nominated. And even from that, you get sort of an invite for you to go. But the invite, it's not free. Like the Grammys, like everybody's paying, you know, to go to the Grammys. And the better seats you have, obviously, the more it costs. But I was like, we got to make that move one year, you know? So Quo and I were talking to you before we started really digging into the album or the show, and we were like, we got to make that move. So next year, if things are normal, which it's looking like they're going to be, I think we got to make that move, Quo.
Consider that done. That's a big yes. We're going.
All right, then. Well, we'll check this out then. So I was looking at this, right? Let me share this on the screen here. Looking at the Grammy Awards, right? So this is what's going on. 63rd Grammy Awards, September 1st, 2019, and August 31st, 2020. That's what they're recognizing for the releases for this year, right? So you got to remember, you got to backdate it a little bit, you know, and think about what happened. So you're looking at all these different categories that there are, right? So general field, you got record of the year, you got album of the year, you got song of the year, you got best new artist, and then you go through one at a time, right? You find each one. I don't know which ones y'all are interested in, but I know I'm interested, obviously, in the hip-hop. So there's the alternative, R&B. Let's check it out, right? Lightning and Thunder, Black Parade, and Beyonce always finding the way up in there. All I Need, Ty Dolla $ign, who was everywhere, right? Goathead, Brittany Howard. I can honestly say I've not heard Goathead by Brittany Howard. See Me, Emily King. All right, cool. Scrolling a little bit more on the R&B there. Interesting.
Oh, Skip Marley up there.
Skip Marley, where'd you see that?
Slow Down.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Dope, yeah.
Skip Marley and her, yeah. John Legend, feels like he's always there too. I mean, rightfully so deserved.
Definitely.
We get into rap. So this is what we got. We got Big Sean featuring Nipsey Hussle. Yo,
That record is crazy.
I wonder how that's gonna, you know what I'm saying? How that's gonna play out. That would be crazy. I mean, but it's been all about the baby, right? On a mainstream level. So
Yeah.
you know,
I thought Jack Harlow was gonna blow up a little bit more, but that song is dope. But
he's still, making his way. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, a couple years, but the baby definitely.
You got Lil Baby. And you got Lil Baby.
Lil Baby too. Bigger
You got
picture,
Megan
though.
Thee Stallion. I mean, that's gonna be, featuring Beyonce. I mean, that's gonna be tough. And then another deceased, you got Pop Smoke. So it's crazy. That's a crazy category. Who you think's gonna take that?
Man, that's a tough one. I'd probably say Megan.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna say what I want to take it. I'm gonna want to see Nipsey Hussle in there on the Deep Reverence.
Yeah, man, that would be me too. As far as what I would like.
Yeah.
That for sure.
Yeah. And I like this category, right? Best melodic rap performance. They didn't have this a few years back, right? That's another way of, compartmentalizing it.
The Box is the one of that.
My gosh.
Bro, Remy, every time, that's her jam, bro.
Is it really?
Still.
And what is she? Not even 3, right?
Not even 3.
Yeah.
She's gonna be 3 in like next month, and she's since like when this record came out, after like the first 3 times hearing it, she's on the hook. She's doing the baby sound and the beat.
Right. Drake featuring Lil Durk, though. I don't know, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Rockstar with the Roddy Ricch too.
But
Roddy
Drake
Ricch
steps in there.
Yeah. Roddy Ricch got good odds though. He's in 2 out of 5, right?
Yeah, I mean, the Box was a hit.
Yeah, man. Oh my, it seemed like forever. You know what I'm saying? So
Travis Scott, that song's dope too. Those are all great selections. I like the Highest in the Room for sure. That's a dope vibe.
Yeah, I don't know why I don't know. I feel like I know that song "Lockdown" by Anderson .Paak. I feel like I haven't heard that. Am I crazy, or do I know it and just don't know it by name?
Yeah, it could be that.
Yeah, I got.
He's so talented too.
Oh, absolutely. That's why I'm like, I
really
don't know. I'm off. Best rap songwriters. We gotta check this out. The Bigger Picture. We got The Box. Okay. There's mad names too when you look at like who the writers are, right? The instrumentation and people maybe adding to the hooks, which Drake, of course, the big conspiracy theories will come out. You know what I'm saying? Like, which one of these is Drake's got? It's like, come on, y'all. Rockstar. We got another Roddy Ricch, Savage, Beyonce, Sean Carter, right? Yep. Sean. So, do you get a Grammy for that? If you're Sean, does a Grammy show up at your house if you're like a second writer on a song? I think so, right? You
does it? I don't know.
I think if your name's there, man, you can apply for it on you. I think that's how it does go down.
Best rap album.
Yes, Black Habits, Alfredo.
It's good to see
Freddie
Nas up
Gibbs. Yeah, absolutely. That's not gonna win, but you know what I'm saying. Nor will the Allegory, but that's crazy that the Allegory's there too. I mean,
Jay Electronica. That album was like long. People waited a long time for that.
Yeah. It's weird how the J Electronica evolution has gone. It's like massive underground explosion, the most eclectic thing ever, and then just kind of dipped back underwater and trying to resurface. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
Who do you think's gonna take that one?
Who I think's gonna take it? Freddie Gibbs. I don't know. I'm not sure.
It's tough. Best rap album.
Yeah. I mean, I would hope again. I would be rooting for like Nas or Royce. I mean, that Allegory record itself is just crazy. That whole Allegory, the cave kind of thing. It's just crazy.
Yeah, he's insane, man.
He is. He's really jumped up into another stratosphere in the last few years. There's no doubt about it. It's funny. I saw somebody's top 10 list the other day. No, not top 10. It was one of these like Facebook lists. I'm gonna stop sharing that. And they had. You watch people's lists, right? And its list is just an easy way to get people talking online, I guess, right? So this kid posted his top 50 list, and he's in my feed somewhere. So hey, whoever you are, I saw your list, and it was something like number 9. It was like Eminem, and it was like all the way through 50. There's no sign of Royce. Like Royce doesn't even get a mention. Is Royce that far away, really? Like you could make the argument, right, that Royce is like. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can make the argument. It depends what your flavor and what your palate is.
He has to be in the top 50.
He can't be in the top 50?
He has to be.
And dude had DMX like number 8. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, no diss to DMX, but it's like above, like.
It's cool, man, seeing
everybody.
People's taste buds,
It is, man.
It really is. Like, okay, what you like,
Yeah, it is. I mean, there's no best, you know what I'm saying? And like we talk about that as lyricists too. Like you feel yourself, you get to a point where you're like, yo, I love this lyric. Like when you break it down, you know, I love this. But at the end of the day, it's like sometimes you can be too, you know, like my name, you can be too lyrical all the time. You know what I'm saying? You can definitely lose a swath of the audience, right? And you or whoever the listener is. But then at times, you know, you don't want just that surface level, and it's nice to see, you know, the different levels of it. Like I would pay money to hear somebody like Royce do a break it down. You know what I mean? Like I would love to, and I've seen a couple of those kind of videos, but where you get a little bit of it. But I like take that deep dive. You know what I mean? Take that deep dive. That's what I want to hear.
Yeah, and I think I mean at the end of the day, I watched just recently the Biggie.
What up, Alan?
What's up, brother?
I do see that one of the ones came through there, so that was cool. So good to know that at least it worked for you, because we got a lot of people in the comments we're working for, but keep sending them in. We see you. Sorry if we lost y'all early. I'm sorry, Jay.
No, it's all good. But yeah, Biggie being the best of all time, just because of, you know, passing at 24, and that Netflix, I think it was on Netflix. Yeah, they got that documentary, man.
No doubt.
I watched it the next day. That's all I thought about was Big, man. The whole day.
I actually, I know we've both been discussing this, and I still haven't found time to check it out yet. But it's a must. You know, I sent you the AZ documentary today. I should have watched it.
That was gonna go on the big screen.
Oh man!
You know what's funny about the Big though is that my, you know, wife, she was like, "Let's watch it." I'm like, "Hell yeah!" I didn't think he was going to, but yeah, let's watch it. We watched it together.
So she wanted to watch Biggie. You're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. For a second, I thought you were saying AZ. I was like, all right, cool. But that AZ thing is well put together. That was like a commercial, really, less so the documentary, but a do commercial, you know.
As soon as I heard Rakim, I'm like, wow.
Yeah. And by the way, if y'all don't know, we talk about the AZ documentary that came out a couple years ago for the 20th anniversary of Do or Die. Yeah. Do or Die. But
I think, you know what? Before we transition into our guests, we should do one other unofficial, official.
Well, you said one other. Did we do one yet?
You showed something.
Oh yeah, I glanced. Yeah.
You kind of did.
All right, man. What's the unofficial official sponsorship? I need to know who we got.
I'm gonna just show the picture and say Filippo Berio. I think.
Oh, absolutely. Extra virgin olive oil. Absolutely. You know what I be doing with that right there? It's not what you think. I put it. Well, depends what you think. Homemade popcorn, dog. Homemade popcorn and the olive oil, the extra virgin joint. We've been on an extra at the Professor Lyrical household. We've been on an extra popcorn kick as of late. My son, you know, coming into that popcorn, but my wife, you know, trying to find that healthy snack or whatever. It's been popcorn. Oh, and shout out to the wife tonight with I say the wife like she's like some, shout out to my wife. I like the general wife. She made the air fried potatoes.
Oh,
French fries.
How did that come out?
Oh, pristine, man. My son was like, they're not better than Five Guys. No, he was like, he was.
Five Guys got it.
He was like, they might be better. That's what he said. So he got excited.
He said they might be better.
Shout out to Five Guys too. You see, it's on an unofficial official sponsorship. So Five Guys, you might have heard yourself in there.
Five Guys,
we can make that move. We can make that move.
You've been a little skimpy on your fries though.
Oh, usually, have they?
Yeah, and I think it's definitely due to COVID. With business decline.
All right.
It was like 2 months into it, the dip occurred, and it hasn't recovered.
Is that it? See, I've only gone to Five Guys, quite honestly, probably once in the COVID. Twice. I think we went twice during the whole COVID stretch. We got one as does everybody within 5 miles or whatever. But we got one within probably quarter mile.
Same.
Yeah, man. Yeah. But I was gonna come, with the unofficial sponsorship. What I really wanted to come with today, something a little different. I just wanted to talk about. I don't know if you can see it. Do you know what that is?
Is that Olaf?
It's so white. I knew it was gonna be tricky to see with the light. It is Olaf, but it's Olaf Pez. It's a Pez dispenser.
Oh snap!
It's really, and this is genius if you think about it, right? It's like, what do you have to do with the dispenser when it's done? What do you got to do? You can't just.
You're not gonna just throw it away.
Throw it out. You got to keep it and refill it. It's genius, right?
Yeah.
It's like we need these in hip hop.
The tool.
Like we need, you know what I'm saying? Like refill your dispenser. It's just brilliant. It's like, no, we're not selling you just these little packets of sugar to make your kids on sugar crack. We are selling you a lifetime supply. You know,
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Let's look at 20 of these too.
Yo, we're gonna
Yo.
have the Pro Quo Pez heads, the dual
Pro
pack.
Quo Pez heads. That's it. Cause the little bobblehead top there, little Pro
Yeah,
one.
bro.
You get a little beard in yours if you do Quo though. You know what I'm saying? You get a little hair.
It'll be nice and culture. It'll be nice and tamed and all trimmed in nice on that though.
Speaking of Pro Quo merch, let's really go with the real unofficial official sponsorship.
Pay attention.
And really
Blow
go
that
with
up.
that right there.
Look,
Yeah, there we
Twitch,
go.
You need to take the full screen over with that one, bro.
I do, man. I do. I do.
Oh,
you're right. I think I do need to. But, you know, you get there's you with the LA, you know, you're representing. But, you know, you got to come with the Pro Quo Show, you know.
Yo.
There you go, man.
I'm gonna have mine soon, real quick. That was one of my wedding gifts right there from Pro. Appreciate it.
That was sponsored by Capitalism Moment. That's right. You know what I'm saying? We aren't even selling them, so it isn't even.
Yo, so
capitalism
hey,
yet.
look at what's up with
Down
my
the
man Mazi.
Yo, I don't even want to give like a big long introduction, but I will say this, and then we can really get into it with him, is that, you know, before I came out here late 2017 to the DC area, and I had already heard about Words, Beats, and Life when I was in Boston. In fact, I probably sent an email or went on the website or something because I saw what they were doing. I saw it was definitely a community-based, culture-driven, you know, establishment. And I was like, who is this company? Who's this Mazi? Right? Because I was saying it wrong as I've continued to do. And I was like, oh, it's Mazi. All right, first of all, I gotta get the pronunciation right. I was like, who is this dude that I'm hearing about? And you know, I got the chance to do some stuff over at the Kennedy Center and cross paths with some people that were involved with the event that I was in, and my man Doomy, and then DJ RBI, who these are all people that are out here in this area, real great people, and they were all connected. He was sort of the hub of all that. I was at Howard doing a quick little panel kind of talk, and they had representation there, and I was like, yes, finally, it's the people from Words, Beats, and Life. I definitely want to find out more about them. And he's the man behind the scenes and in front of the scenes. He's putting it all together, and we're excited to have him in here. So without further ado, let's bring in Mazi from Words, Beats, and Life.
Yes, sir.
What's going on, fellas?
What's up, man?
Mazi, thank you very much for joining with us tonight on the show. It's a pleasure to have you. And wow, I read a lot of your stuff today, and I was very impressed.
I definitely appreciate that, and definitely appreciate the invite to come and talk a little bit about some of the work we're doing here in DC.
Absolutely. Yo, so I don't know if I did you justice there talking about that, but what I didn't get into, Mazi, is how did you guys come to be?
That's a great question. So Words, Beats, and Life is about to be 20 years old in 2022. We started in 2002 as a conference. As a nonprofit in 2002, but as a conference at the University of Maryland in 2000. So I've been doing this work for the last 22 years, which is a long time.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
In the short-lived world of hip hop, yes, it is. Yes.
You know, reading through your site too, I was curious, like the 2040 visions that you're talking about. How are you projecting those? Like, can you talk about that a little bit?
It's interesting, right? Because one of the things that happened as we prepared for this year's anniversary was we asked ourselves, if Words, Beats, and Life existed 20 years from now, how's the world different? How have we made an impact on the world? And to be totally honest, it was working on that project was the first time I'd even allowed myself to dream that far into the future about how the world could be different. Right. Because when I started Words, Beats, and Life, with myself and 3 other University of Maryland students, to be honest, it was never supposed to be anyone's full-time job. It was just supposed to be this thing that allowed hip-hop artists to give back to the community. And so everybody was supposed to be a volunteer. Everybody was supposed to be focused mostly on teaching young people. And what was amazing was that the first time we did a set of workshops, it was supposed to be like once a month. The students were so mad at the end of class. We had to wait a whole month to do this again. And it was like, yeah, we broke. We just volunteered. But the thing that did was it showed us that there was really an interest in this model we were trying to build. Think about like a magnet school where a school attracts young people from all over to one place. We wanted to do that with what we called the academy. So all these MCs and producers and DJs who didn't know each other because they didn't go to the same schools. We wanted to create a magnet academy that brought young people from all over DC. And what happened was the more people learned about it, we started to draw people from Baltimore and Richmond. This was for an after-school program. People would get in cars to come and learn about DJing, learn about graffiti. And that's the real thing, is that we've always been about all the elements of hip-hop. And frankly, when we first started, we actually didn't even do anything with rap music. There's so many other organizations focus on rap because that was what young people knew and everybody wanted to be the next big thing. But we saw real opportunities for career exploration in like the visual arts and in DJing and beat production, all these other career paths that other folks weren't focusing on. So that was kind of how we began and then grew into an organization that does work globally, nationally, regionally, that publishes a peer-reviewed academic journal of hip-hop, lots and lots of different things.
Yeah.
Yo,
Real
that
dope.
cultural diplomacy thing is incredible. And that the Like a Boss, that idea, man, I was like, wow, that's really cool, man.
What's interesting is that when you do something for 20 years, is that you get an opportunity to reimagine. And so, like, one of the things that happened during the last recession is that we had the opportunity to kind of start over because we got hit by the recession like a lot of nonprofits. But the difference was we got to start over with 17 years of experience, relationships, and a track record. So it wasn't really like starting over. It was reframing how it is that we would do work and how it is we projected ourselves into the future. And now we're doing things like you said. We've talked about our work in 5 areas: arts education, creative employment, cultural diplomacy, centering marginalized voices, and for the culture. And the idea is that we do lots of different events and projects, but that it boils down to those 5 priorities. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Can you talk to us about regionally, about, you know, for folks not aware of the sort of the climate in D.C., especially on the arts ed piece? Is this filling a needed void, or how does it complement what's already happening in the schools or community?
Well, the truth is that the work we do fills a void that's in almost every major city, because most young people, when they go to school, I can speak for myself, you know, like 30 plus years ago when I was in high school, the only arts I got exposure to was band, was pottery, was watercolor, kind of introductory
paper mache,
self-expression art forms, but they weren't about a career path. And so no one took it seriously. Like, art was a thing you did to try to get an easy A, as opposed to this is the pathway towards me realizing what it is I'm going to be as a person, how it is that I can provide for myself and my family. And because like people who run schools and run school districts don't think about arts as a career path, they treat it like it's not. Every kid gets pushed into STEM or the sciences, which are wonderful career paths. They're just not for everybody.
Sure.
But the difference is, like, the arts. One of my favorite questions to ask. I was in an interview earlier today with some college students, and my favorite question to ask, which you two will definitely not will answer yes to, which is how many people in the room are artists? And almost no one's hand ever goes up.
Wow.
But then I say, so how many of you actually have ever prepared food for yourself? Like, I mean, yeah, I cook. That's called the culinary arts. Like, how many of you are responsible for dressing yourselves? You know, that's called styling, but it could also be fashion and design. Like, we all participate in the arts, but have been taught to not think about ourselves as artists.
Absolutely.
And so that's a big part of what we do, is help young people who want to pursue expression in art forms that are connected to hip hop, but even more broadly about connecting them to kind of this larger creative community.
Real dope. So how is the virtual academy taking shape? We were checking that out on the site, and you know, obviously people are needing to adjust here. Is that just a continuation of the basic academy, or is this a new outgrowth, and will it be something that you think will continue even after COVID ends?
Yeah, so we're one of those groups that, like, everybody's like, oh, COVID is so terrible, we got to stay in, nobody gets to hug or touch. But we're one of those groups that has actually thrived in COVID. So we have 63 young people enrolled in the academy.
Wow. And
it's so interesting, like, to listen to K through 12 educators talk about the experiences they're having, like struggling to get students to show up or turn on their camera, build community. And it's like, there are definitely some students who are in our virtual academy who don't always turn on their camera. Yeah. But they send pictures. They're engaging. They're talking in the chats. Like, they're showing up to a program that's optional.
Dope.
When not everyone is going to school. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I think that this hybrid of virtual, because we're doing everything is virtual, but we have in-person opportunities. Because, like, at our programming space, we have a 90-foot long wall that we built out of wood for the graffiti students. We have our office is at a church, so there's a giant sanctuary that normally seats like 500 people, so we can have a class of like 5 or 6 breakers come in.
Wow.
So we're doing some in person, just really limited, and
Yep.
then archiving everything. So like the beauty of this is those kids that used to come from Baltimore or come from Richmond, now they can just tune in and be home and not have to worry about spending money on gas,
For real.
but still be able to engage and be in community. So I think the virtual is going to continue. And part of what it actually took us a while. Like we literally just started the virtual academy in February because we weren't really sure the kids would show up because we were listening to all the school teachers talk about how they're not tuning in.
Mm.
But we were lucky. We had partnerships with things like the public libraries to be able to broadcast workshops that we would normally do in person, maybe have like 10 or 15 people at it that had 300 over the summer.
Wow.
So it's like if 300 people will tune in virtually to this thing that's broadcast to everybody, let's try to get some kids who are really, or young people and young adults, because we work with 13 to 23, who really want to be in community, not just to witness how
Yeah.
to do things.
Absolutely. You know, there's a lot to that, especially with, you know, even shows like these, you know, which Jay and I pretty much were just talking, you know, live, almost as an easier way to have conversation, you know what I mean? And we're like, yeah, we might as well put these things up, you know, and like really take them seriously. And, you know, you have a couple thousand people watch in a week, whereas maybe if it wasn't for this, like you said, this kind of thing might not have even popped up. So it has definitely affected a lot of businesses in a positive way that, and maybe, you know, brought to light some that never would have existed. But how do you go about planning though for when you think it will come back? Like, are you planning for all the on ground stuff like business as usual, or what's that process for something that I know that you do, you know, a lion's share of your stuff on the ground, in quote unquote typical situations?
I mean, so the real answer is I don't know. What I do know is that a lot of times we would do things like parties or concerts where we would have artists that weren't necessarily super well known,
Yep.
and the turnouts would be maybe like 100, 125 people,
Yep.
versus now doing things virtually. 500 people are engaging with the content without boosting. That's 100% organic. And so to do that constantly, like almost every event that we've done has between 300 and 500 people attended. That's not how it works for us in real life. Even things like the festival you were talking about at the Kennedy Center. When we did that now a year ago in person,
Yep.
we had about 30,000 people come out over the course of the 5 days, right?
Yep.
But then the flip side of that is when we did it virtually, we did it for a whole month. We had 50,000 people attend over the course of the month virtually.
That's crazy.
We got a larger pull on our own virtually than we did in person with the Kennedy Center.
Mm.
So on some levels, it's like there's got to be some content that stays virtual. Like next weekend, next Saturday, we're doing this. We started this DJ showcase called Off the Couch, where we get DJs from all over the world to do kind of different sets. And we've got different rooms on Twitch. And it's just you can stay home, but it's like get up off the couch and dance, because the music is about dance. You can have a party with your kids, with yourself, with your husband or wife or partner. So we created that. We've also created game shows. We got this thing called The Fifth Element, where it's all about like the knowledge of the culture, and we invite people on to play that. We got a show called Eats Plus Beats, where we pair up a producer and a chef, and they both basically get in the kitchen and start cooking for each other.
Real hot.
We've never done those things without COVID, because it's like, who's going to show? How are we going to? First off, how are we going to book the studio to get an audience to come and watch that? So there's so many things that doing it virtually has allowed us to imagine doing that we couldn't afford to do in real life. It's that audience. Like the very first show of Eats Plus Beats, I think, was done maybe 3 months ago. We're starting to creep up on y'all's numbers. I think it has like 1,500 views. 100% organic, not boosting it, just people liking it, sharing it, and viewing it. So it's like, why wouldn't we continue to create this online content that's going to reach people who can't travel to DC?
Absolutely.
You know, like, so yeah. Sorry, I'm rambling.
No,
this is great, man. This is you're. I applaud the innovation, man. Like the what I liked is that you're focused on the youth, but then I saw that section where you're talking about the adults getting involved too. And for this thing just blowing up the way that you're saying, it's like the vision and the why that you have, your mission statement, makes so much sense.
Yeah.
And the impact for the communities now, where you're taking your community and you're able to spread it out across, where if we're in Boston, we could jump on that and check that out. That's incredible, man. Because again, it's you're setting these kids up for success. You know,
I mean, speaking of like your unofficial sponsor, one of our official sponsors is Google. We have a Google ad grant.
That's very official, by the way.
$20,000 in free ads. So we're using that to boost our social all over the world. So we have generally somewhere between 3,000 and 5,000 people globally that visit our website every month. And that's not a huge number, but for a nonprofit that's based in DC, that probably nobody who's watching this has ever heard of before, those are good numbers.
Well, let's show them. Yeah. So this is the site right here. And I was going to ask you, there's obviously about you. I don't know how up to date this is, and I certainly didn't tell you ahead of time we're going to put this. But tell us about the team too. Is this the team, or are there more people or less? Or
no, this is the team. So at the top we've got our marketing manager. He actually is the former executive director of another hip hop nonprofit. His name is Dominic Painter. He's based in LA. Next to him is Marcus Moody, who's our webmaster. Next to him is Alex, who does our PR. So there's like a whole press release section. Dope. Under that is our good friend Richard, who does a lot of our illustration work. Next to him is Flex, our photographer. Next to him is Asad,
Flex.
Graffiti artist from DC. Shout out to Flex Matthews. Then below them we have two of
our MC, by the way. Sorry.
Yeah, he's got bars. Yeah. Then we've got two interns, one based in California and the other one based in Ohio. So that's one of the other things about COVID. We normally don't recruit interns from outside of DC, except in the summertime. But we've got people from, like I said, California and Ohio, but also New Orleans. Down here, we've got Reggie, who does a lot of our creative economy work, things like planning our alternative spring break, our alternative winter break. Next to him is Serena, the academy manager. She runs our after-school program. Next to her is Patrick Washington. He's part of a trio called the PoMCs. He's an amazing poet, been featured on Def Poetry Jam and all that. Yeah. So he's running all of our poetry programming.
Wow.
Really? And then we've got Terrell, who runs our college material program, which is basically a college and career readiness curriculum. So yeah, this is all the current team. Then we've got Tony Asante Lightfoot. She's doing staff development. These are all the interns I was talking about. One from Maryland, Lana. Then TJ, who's down in New Orleans or Louisiana. Menon, who's actually based in Seattle right now, but she goes to GW.
Right.
And then these are brand new interns.
Yeah, you got Andy on the academy intern here.
Yeah, Andy's actually a Stanford student.
Gotcha.
But he's from Northern Virginia, so he's interning with us. Then these are three new people. These are college material coaches,
right?
That are signed up to help students prepare to go to college. Because since we come out of a college experience, we want young people to go to college.
So dope, man.
Yeah, really impressive.
So yeah, there's even more people. We've got a whole journal staff. Like, what's crazy is that
wow.
I'm gonna keep it a buck. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you because you was like, yo, I don't know how updated this is. For a little while there, this was a little bit of a Jedi mind trick. Like all these people weren't there, but these are all current board members, current journal members, interns. This is the biggest team we've had in a while. So that's another thing. Like we're growing in.
You certainly are.
The board is growing.
Crazy, man.
Our staff is growing. The teaching artists, all that good stuff.
Wow.
Very, very impressive.
Well, hopefully now people, well, at least our audience sees that site, man, and hopefully they continue over there. Sounds like the programming is real engaging, even for, like Jay said, for adults. I mean, I know friends who are doing similar things, but it's just one-off. It's like one thing, right? They do like a hip-hop game show, and it comes on every whatever, but having that all in one place like that, that sort of, collective place where people can just kind of come in and chime into the program is real hot. And I'm sure when it gets back live too, like you said, the mix is going to be amazing of the, people be waiting to go to these kind of things live in person.
Yeah, I mean, so sometimes people ask me like, what makes WBL unique? And it's what you just said, which is the fact that like a lot of hip hop organizations that particularly nonprofits usually focus on one element.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of dancers or a whole bunch of DJs or a whole bunch of graffiti writers. But we're really trying to be all the elements of hip hop plus some. Like we've done innovative things like created the world's first hip hop chess tournament called Bum Rush the Boards and did that for 10 years. Had a mixtape connected to it. Was teaching the elements between rounds. Like I said, we publish a peer-reviewed academic journal of hip hop. So people at universities around the world are studying or using our journal as a primary text. And it's really about all these people that are fans and creators being in the same space. It's about words, beats, and life.
Sure is.
Absolutely. Now that 2040 vision making it's very clear. Very clear.
How was it for you? I'm sorry, I wanted to ask this too before we get you out of here too. And we thank you so much too for coming by and giving us the in-depth deep dive to what y'all have going on. When you were, I mean, you give us just a little bit about your background. Where'd you go for college again?
Yeah, the University of Maryland, College Park.
Okay, and so when you were talking about the conference, so you were there as a student, and you just said, "Hey, I want to put on a conference." Is that basically what happened? You and some other folks?
I wish. I mean, in a lot of ways, many of the things I've been a part of was realizing someone else's dream. So my freshman year in college, I met this brother by the name of Sophia Robb. He was the president of the Black Student Union the year before I got there. And I asked him, what's the one thing you wished you had done when you were BSU president? He said, I wish I could have created a world-class hip-hop conference like Jack the Rapper here at the University of Maryland to bring people from all over the world. And so 3 years later, when I became the president of the Black Student Union, I decided to do the one thing my mentor said he had, which was to create a hip-hop conference that brought people from all over the world, that had career fairs and panels and workshops and exhibitions. And it continues to this day, even in a smaller form, mostly because, to be transparent, like the reason why it was big was because I recognized that hip-hop was a bridge to the human family. And so we could reach out to the Latino Student Union and the Asian American Student Union and the Pride Alliance and the Jewish Student Union and Muslim Student Association to get all those folks who are all listening to rap music and to varying degrees participating in hip hop to pool their money and make something big versus now it's just an event of the Black Student Union, unfortunately.
So did you know that once you did that and you got your taste while you were in college, did you say, okay, this is what I need to do? Were you already on the path of like, were you going to do like some sort of traditional job, or was this the I guess the benchmark that said, yo, I'm all in now and I got to do this on my own?
No, again, I wish I had like this, like I can say, when I was a junior, I had this grand vision.
Right? Yeah.
But the truth is I created a nonprofit because I wanted to continue that conference at the University of Maryland.
Yeah.
That was literally the extent of my vision. But then the undergraduates, the year after I graduated, said they didn't need the help of alumni. They would continue it on their own.
Oh, okay.
And then I remembered this woman, this teacher who brought a group of young people to a panel discussion. And she was like, Mazi, this 6 days was great, but what do we do now? And I was like, I got to go to class. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then I thought, like, why don't we create something that those students could come to? That's when the academy was born, and then the journal, and then. And that's really been the truth is like, a lot of people maybe start a business with a singular vision or a singular product, and kind of focus and go deep. And I think that's beautiful. Instead of going deep in one area, we've kind of gone medium in a lot of areas because our goal isn't to be your last stop. Like,
right.
if we introduce you to the elements of hip hop, we want you to go and do master classes with those people that are doing one thing.
Yeah.
We'll take you much further in that area than we can. We want to be the bridge into the world for people on the outside.
Just to say, again, the event you did, I forgot, Jay, to tell you too, that he brought Ski. When I recently got to see Ski again, it's been a while, he brought Ski Beats out to do this beat contest with a lot of other people or exhibition, but there were other local, and more than just local, there were people really from all around, truth be told, right? They were in that the beat contest too. But that definitely, I mean, just from the vibe in the room, that was inspiring a whole new generation of people. And it wasn't just that it was all young people. There were quite a lot of people that were older and younger. It was all ages. But that, to me, I was thankful to perform in the Cypher thing you had like the next day. But to me, the dopest event that I got a chance to check out was that beat contest. Just seeing all those, like you said, master class of all these, sort of legendary or up and coming super producers in one room. It was just a beautiful thing to see, and let see, the next generations and some of the generations that are current, get to see all that. Thought that was beautiful.
I just want to give props where they're due because that event was organized by the beat conductors. They actually reached out to us and said, hey, I know you're doing a festival. Why don't we bring our event into your larger festival?
Yep.
That's part of like
good decision.
Community piece. It's like one group don't got to do everything. We can share and promote and build.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And people too, the no quit mentality, the 20 years in the making. When you are going for your goals, it is not going to happen overnight, and it definitely ain't going to happen in a week, and it may not even happen in 10 years.
Right.
But perfect example. Look, I mean, that
2040 vision, right? Right.
Long term is the way to go, and you only do that by having a firm belief in yourself and your vision. So that why statement, I wanted to write it down so I could read it because it was powerful, man.
And I want to
Go
give you
to that.
props
Everybody
too.
got to go to that site and check that out.
Absolutely. I want to give you props on something you said earlier too, which is I know a big piece of what you do, but a lot of educators miss this in sort of the experiential piece of education. You know, sometimes that's sort of left to on the side, but the entrepreneurialism piece is so huge. You know, students are already hardwired. People in general, not just students, are hardwired in general for like, what does this mean for me, and where's the value, and tying it to that is much needed. People will sometimes look at the arts as like you said earlier, sort of that thing you do as maybe the easy A when you're in school, or just sort of a break from the traditional kind of courses. But to see it tied to, hey, this could be a serious, career. We say it all the time here. It's sort of my motto too, is like, people don't understand how much business there is in colleges, right? Performing and speaking at these schools. And, I tell it to educators quite a bit, and to young MCs coming up, be like, well, have you ever, thought about playing at a college? And it's usually just not on the radar in terms of the entrepreneurialism. It's like, well, I got to hustle these, whatever it is, shirts, hats in the old days, right? CDs or whatever. But people aren't necessarily checking for, what about sponsors? What about tours at colleges? What about, making my business a brand that could have wide appeal? So teaching that stuff is sort of the missing link, at least I see across a lot of, educational institutions, just connecting it back to the entrepreneurism. So I think that's wonderful.
I think it's bringing it back to that Biggie documentary. Like, one of the things, one of the producers in the because I know everybody hasn't seen it, but there's this scene where a producer from one of the tracks on his first album said he was just driving around the neighborhood and saw Biggie and Junior Mafia just standing out on the street. And he was like, I bet you they've never even left this neighborhood.
Yeah.
He just got them all in the car and just drove them someplace else. Like, so many young people have not seen anything other than what's immediately around them. And I don't just mean young people that live in the inner city. I mean also young people that live in the suburbs. Yep. People don't travel the way that to see the world. You know what I'm saying? And so thinking about the responsibility of adults to be able to create experiences that allow young people to see more than the world that they live in, to appreciate it, to be inspired by it, to imagine something for themselves. Like one of my favorite lyrics, and I don't think I've ever quoted it in an interview, it was a Dead Prez lyrics where they said, everything you see is just a thought manifested. So like, what are you dreaming about, young person? And not just young person, because the reason why we created those programs for adults is we kept getting calls from adults who were like, I want to DJ. I know I'm too old for your classes. What can you do for me? I want to break. I want to make beats. So we decided to create programs just for adults, because it's never too late.
Never.
To express yourself creatively or to develop a business or a skill.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Inspirational stuff, my man. Yo.
Really.
So pleased to have
a man
you,
of the community.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yo, anytime you need to stop through or you get something going on, make sure to let us know, and we'll try to get it out to our little slice of the world here too. But Mazi Mutafa, yo, Words Beats in Life, check them out.
Thanks, fellas.
Absolutely.
Thank you again very much.
Wow. Beast mode, Mazi. Beast mode. Yo, impressive dude, right?
Yeah,
humble
man.
Dude, impressive dude, and just he's
high
got
energy,
that vision, man.
Passion. And it's that team that he's built in a nonprofit organization, and just having a long list like that, and to know that it's growing, and the cause, that mission statement. Y'all need to go to that website, read it.
Yeah, and Don Juan was typing over to us too. He was like, "Yo, that's a must-know cat, awesome." You know what I'm saying? And really back to just us two, but I wanted to put that out there and say, like, that's a must-know dude. That I'm really glad we get to sort of expose to people for what he has going on. Just like you said, Jay, you hit it on the head with just like that follow through and stuff. It doesn't necessarily take a day or a week. When you're trying to build something worthwhile and that you're on the right path, just make sure you lay out that plan and envision what it's supposed to look like along the way. You're not always going to hit all the bench posts and all the benchmarks or whatever. It's just a blueprint to try to, breathe it into the air and try to set it up, see it as you, try to create it in real life as you see it in your head, and That's a wonderful example of brother doing that. Yeah,
and through your hard work, that law of attraction starts to pull in an organization like he's built. Like that's because you don't know it. You're not going to know everything. I mean, you can okay, let's not talk about pro, but
what? Come on, man.
I'm just saying the stuff like you know a lot more things than me on certain things, and it's like, okay, so Pro can handle that. This guy can handle that. We offset. We balance each other, yin and yang, right? It's put it into someone else's hands, and that other person is going to be someone that you attract because your vision is so strong, kind of thing.
Absolutely. And like he was talking about with that beat contest, it's like you don't have to reinvent the wheel all the time, and I'll tell you too, like his programming is like you read what they have on like day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, you're like, I don't want to go home, you know what I'm saying? Like I brought my son came, my wife came, they had jump roping going on. So the thing I did in the day was Kennedy just had a cypher with a bunch of like the local MCs who were nice. There was a lot of nice talent. Not everybody was local, but it was like Flex was there, and it's funny because Flex does photography we got to have Flex on the show. Flex is a dope underground MC. I think I saw him in Boston. We were at a similar show together. We didn't really get to talk, but I was like, oh, yo, I know Flex. Might have even been somewhere else in New England. I can't remember, but dude has like crazy records. So he's working for them doing the photography, you know what I'm saying? But he also holds it down on the mic all over the place. Shout out to Doomy. Doomy will be coming up as our guest, I think in early May. Yeah, we got a pretty packed April coming up. And we got a lot of, real fortunate to have a lot of really cool guests, between, who we both really know and who we've been connected to. And it's just it's been a real blessing to just be able to bring up some people. I see you, Rhonda. Speaking of
Rhonda, I saw that too.
Yeah, Rhonda in the place. Shout out to Rhonda, Cambridge. It's just been a blessing, like I was saying, just to be able to bring these folks up and continue to try to show people, spread a light. And a lot of these people don't need their light spread necessarily. It's not like these are people that are just starting out. But even if you are, we're trying to think of people in our cipher, in our circle, who are just interesting people who are doing something different, or doing something that's long established and have just done it well and that they're inspiring. Speaking of which, next week, you can see behind me up there on the right in there, Leansky. That's Lino. We're going to have Lino coming up. Yep. So Lino is a legendary dancer from the Floor Lords. If you're not from the Boston area, that's him right there. He's now chilling in Hawaii. Yeah, you got Hawaii. So excited to have Lino come up, talk about b-boying and b-girling. And we might as well tell people too, we got coming up after that, we got Dr. Sherry Ward. Mentioned her before. If you didn't hear her, she is actually first I'm going to start with this. She's an MC. She's an MC and a poet, and she's the poet laureate for the DC Council out here. She's got some real dope stuff going on with the poetry scene out here as well. She's an educator. She's an adjunct professor at my university. She is a director of the arts program over at Archbishop Carroll High School in DC, well-known high school. So some cool guests we have coming up, and ones we've had in the past. Shout out to Kendall, you know what I mean? Shout out to Rhonda. Shout out to all the people who have been through and just helping us, all of us, really just stay motivated and stay on point.
Yeah, it's great, man. Meeting these people, it's like-minded and so positive. It's you can't not win with that. It's a perfect recipe.
Yeah,
but this last guest right here, though, it's like, Mazi, you having that such a powerful program going on. I can't wait to go really start diving in and checking it out.
Yeah, man. He's a radio host too, man. He does a radio show too, and
very well spoken. I could definitely see that.
Yep.
But anybody that has anything to do with hip hop, you listening to this, you make sure you go check that out and start diving into it like I'm going to. Great stuff, man.
Yeah, man.
We got a lot of great stuff on the ProQuo Show, don't we, there?
We do, and you know what? This week, we actually we were gonna have a guest come up for our 5 Minutes of Flames, but that didn't work out. So we're gonna do that next week. We're gonna do 5 Minutes of Flames, but that opens up a little sliver for a little more ProQuo, a little more ProQuo.
Let's talk about the week.
Yeah, man. Tell me about the week. What was the work? What was the work like?
I mean, it's not. I don't want to say Groundhog Day because that just sounds, but it's work and then work. So we did mixing, we were doing paperwork stuff. Let's start off with the meeting on March 21st of this year at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time that we're gonna have with everybody involved in the Instant Brotherhood Project. We have
yes, sir. That's a lot to coordinate that you've been working on with all these international people, man.
Yeah, I think we're at 16 people. No, is it that much? It might be 16 people. Not internationally. So we're touching the globe. We got France, the Netherlands, Germany, and several states in the USA.
Amsterdam, you said, yeah.
Amsterdam, yeah.
Yep.
And everybody's excited, and it's really cool because, you know, we started this whole thing months back, and now we're moving to that phase 2, is I guess what I'm calling it, where it's like, let's get the minds meeting and start putting the plans together and letting everybody know what's going on. And that's what we came up with that the other day, and now that's in action, and we got half of the people already checked off, you know, they're there. So
yeah, a lot of work to do when you putting together a lot of songs, you know, and that's just a testament to your work ethic, and, you know, combine both of our really ethics in just terms of, you know, getting the music done. And, you know, so many people right now are focused in on you know, just like, you know, doing a single or doing a video, and then maybe just trying to flood the market with content, which I get and I understand, and to a portion we have to do that as well. But we're also trying to juggle quantity with quality, you know, and then how to represent that and how to put that all together. And you know, there is still a lane for both, you know, and that's what we're trying to tap into, like how to just keep putting it out, but keep making sure it's a certain bar. And eventually, you know, a lot of cats these days, they aren't put out albums. We do want to actually do albums for these as well, and just, you know, do all the singles and do what we need to do, and just, you know, see where it takes us in terms of expression and whatever else comes from it. And really just as a vehicle, again, to just meet fantastic people, work with them, you know. Again, shout out to you know, all the countries and all the people here. Shout out to Freedom Corner. We had a nice chat with LD. Shout out to Mississippi. Our man Fly, of course, you know, and just it's been great, you know. Like Mazi said, there's a lot of things that you otherwise wouldn't have been able to, not that you wouldn't have been able to, but you wouldn't have thought to do. You know? Exactly. And we talk about this too. You and I, we talk about how this, I was just saying it the other day, how is this going to change the landscape of how people perform, how they do shows? What's the business model, right? Because like, and Mazi hit on it too, this isn't going away. Right. It isn't like, you know, people are just going to say, oh, COVID's gone. You know, what, May, what is the whole Biden announcement? I think it's like by May, everybody can have access to potentially getting the, you know, vaccines or whatever. People, that it's not just a switch you turn off. Things are steadily improving, but it's, even when it does, let's imagine that things are like, you know, 70% back to normal, let's say by the end of the year, right? It's never going to be fully normal, but let's say it's like 70% back. Do you think all this stuff is just going to magically go away? People are going to be like, okay, cool, we're just going outside now the whole time and we're never going back online. Nah, man, you know?
After 90 days of consistently doing something, it becomes a habit, a discipline. So almost 2 years, well, you know,
1 year now, right? We're on the anniversary now,
and then it'll go into that second year. That's going to be so built into us. And the kids, right? I mean, 2 years for a child is a significant amount of time.
Absolutely, yeah.
So
as a percentage, it's monumental. You know, kids that are, and even if you're under 20, I mean, you think about like, you know, a year of your life, that's 5% of your life. You know what I'm saying? It's like 5% of your life gone if you're 20 years old. You know.
And you know what's cool about it too, just for the school system, in that sense, is that no more snow days. You know what I'm saying? You might be staying home, but
it's a very East Coast thing.
Very East Coast thing.
Or very North. You know?
Northern East, yeah, exactly. But going back to what you was talking about too, about singles and stuff, you know, I love taking in information. We've discussed, I mean, we've had some amazing conversations just within a 5-hour period with Preacher and Miguel. And you know, talking singles, albums, ideas, and stuff like that.
Those are some motivated people right there. Yeah.
Very, very much like
love
us.
Them. Yep.
Yeah. And the album, what's cool in my mind is I always think product, you know, and some people just focus on that single as the one product, and then they launch it, and then the thing is if that thing blows up, what do you have ready?
What's in the chute? Yeah.
Right. What's the net? So if you focus on the album mentality, creating, you know, we went crazy, right? But I mean, if you got a solid 10, 8, 10, and you're thinking single for 10, now you have something to go with. It's not like, oh, you know, pressure's on. Now you got to, with that one song you touring all over the place, and that's all you got. You might be so overwhelmed that you can't create. Who knows, right?
Yeah.
Best be prepared. Have your 10, and if you can, like we got like a second one like on deck.
Yeah, second album. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like that. That's really eases my nerves because I know, hey, we've got tons of material. I always worried about product my entire rap career.
Yep.
And you know what I mean, as we know.
Yes, sir.
And this is the first time in my rap career where I'm like, yo, I mean, the masterpiece, don't get me wrong, I can't denote that. That was a very powerful project that I put together in a short amount of time.
Yes,
and
sir.
I love it. But thinking about the honest me, I would have changed a lot of words that I said on that joint.
Okay.
You know, and that's why I don't really push it out to the forefront. People be able to find it in the backdrop, because what we have now, this is J. Cruz for real, aka quote, aka quote Kane, aka quote, and so on and so forth.
A lot of A's and a lot of K's, but we know what you mean, man. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
It's cool. Yo, let's give him something. Let's so I was thinking about playing a little bit of Stereotype.
Yeah, definitely.
It was either New Bap or Stereotype, and let them hear a little bit of D Right Way. Sound like a plan?
Yeah. So this project, yes, D Right Way produced it, and he raps on the third verse on it. A very talented brother of mine, and
he's got a project out right now, right?
He does, yes, with Larcy Vegas, who's also again
dope producer
riding with us. So yeah, this is the part of the team right here. Check this out.
All right, so here it is. Stereotype, Pro Quo featuring D Right Way. 90% done.
Pro Quo, baby.
I feel like we grew up together, man.
True indeed.
And you know what I think we really did, though? Through this culture.
Right.
Let's talk to him, bro.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Check you in the sky, then I take that fifth. Empowerment, not a powder sniff. Yeah. Entitlement, not no power trip. Co-ignore crowns on some diamond spin. Take it by the horns, we all ride with it. Haters transform in they irises. From LA to the seas to where the islands is. Saints versus the demons, whose side you with? Convert you real quick, we endow that flip. Short change, turn the stacks, that's the vibe you get. The Pro Quo family got the Grammy slip. The big business type rockin' novices. Cabillitins for my girls, fast and fine to dance. I get the world to old earth, that's my mama's win. Your perception all wrong, you reflecting with a king. That's directions in the song, see I find it from within. Like the length of vibration on some timelessness. 2020 vision seen in silenceness. The summer all wisdom in the rhymes we spit. Better than the money where your diamond is. The length of vibration on some timelessness. 2020 vision seen in silenceness. The summer all wisdom in the rhymes we spit. Better than the money where your conscience is.
Live in stereo, who's anchored down the lines in scenario. Cameo performances, enamored since Arsenio. Coming into America, yo, think it's like them video stereotypes. We got all types up in our cities, yo. See, many got them viruses. Downloading what they shouldn't on some pirating. Not only on that music, someone violencing. Welcoming in their parlors while they smiling. You'll find them in places where you think it all. Looters to school shooters, capitals at the mall. Rap ain't all y'all think it's cracked out to be. The industry feels still, many will look cracked out to me. No doubt to me, this whole game's about to be switched up on the flip and how we think about drip. Zooming out with Pro Quo, calling out classic. Cause they all classics.
The length of vibration on some timelessness. 2020 vision seen in silenceness. The summer all wisdom in the rhymes we spit. Better than the money where your diamond is. The length of vibration on some timelessness. 2020 vision seen in silenceness. The summer all wisdom in the rhymes we spit. Better than the money where your conscience is.
Flying higher than pilots you can't ignore. In the strip with vibrations that's deeper than ocean floors. Facts showing lightning when speaking it through the core. I'm excited cause I'm thriving with people who see it more. That's facts. No inviting the haters forever snore. Why you sleeping on the greatest? I'm bringing it rugged raw. Nazi robber when I spit, I'm in a great place. Yeah, Mount Rushmore, you're looking at a great face. I'm straight cool when I speak, ice in the lake. I J. Cruz on the beat, we run a great race. I'll never lose to the weak, my mental shape great. Yes, I'm thinking bigger, tell obesity is okay. Yes, food for thought, the perfect dinner with a whole steak. Facts to the police with agendas, this a whole case. You try to wake me, it's a killer's spree for 4 days.
Stereotyping live in boldface.
The length of vibration on some timelessness. 2020 vision seen in silenceness. The summer all wisdom in the rhymes we spit. Better than the money where your diamond is. The length of vibration on some timelessness. 2020 vision seen in silenceness. The summer all wisdom in the rhymes we spit. Better than the money where your conscience is.
Everybody knows how my time is spent. Everybody knows. Sit around writing all these dope lyrics because a dope lyricist gets down like this. You know Pro Quo got that timelessness. We doing timeless shoes on the timeless tip. The fly everybody check in from where they are. No matter where you are, if they hear a quick story, it don't matter. You know that they got that timelessness. Everybody get down with the rhyme that is. Stereotype. Pro Quo so flyish. No violence is.
I was trying to do the manual fade there and be smooth, but I hit the X button. You know what I'm saying?
It's all good. I was like, oh,
Yeah, I was like, all right, it's done now. Yeah, absolutely.
Shout out everybody in the comments. Rhonda, shout out, girl.
Shout out to D Right Way. Yo, yeah, the comments are
Right Way,
working
yeah.
again. Even though all the people left it, they didn't get them working at the beginning. But yo, it's all good. But
I'm trying people, man, to stay up with these comments. It's difficult. I got this thing. It's called Suite. It's called is it Suite? Business Suite.
Oh yeah.
So it has the IG and the Facebook all in there, but I still haven't figured it all out. I should be getting all my comments, and it's not happening. I got to go to like 4 different areas.
Yeah, we got to get my man Samir Ibrahim up here. I told him to check out the show. He had a comment up on. He had a comment of a comment I did on his page, but he's got this company, man, Sun Culture. I met him out here in D.C. as well. He's in Africa though. He's out in Kenya, but his company's doing crazy work, man. You got to meet this dude. This dude's amazing. But his company got an article in fastcompany.com, the 10 most innovative European, Middle Eastern, and African companies of 2021. So shout out to my man Samir Ibrahim. Yeah, getting it done out there. But yeah, that's just a side note. Because I was looking at comments too. Yo, speaking of comments, man, I don't know. Do you follow, like? I mean, we get into news a little bit, but we're not like a huge news show. We sometimes comment on things going on. But you follow some of the hip hop news out there? Like, you on any of the sites like regularly? I get on a couple of them, kind of check what's going on. But
so you know how sometimes, like, if you know a pit bull.
Yep.
Yeah. So the pit bull, he sees the ball.
Yep.
He's getting the ball. He sees the ball. So my problem is that, again, balance is my toughest issue. So literally, when I say I don't watch TV, I don't do nothing except music.
Yeah.
Right,
I hear you.
Yeah, but see, the thing is that now it's only because I have to compress so much stuff. But my goal is to be able to get back to how I normally would function, which would be some social media balance to get that information.
No
doubt.
doubt.
My stuff. But I haven't been on my feed.
You've been underwater, is what you're saying. You've been underwater.
Yeah, just because it's a must
let me bring
right
you.
now.
Let me bring you back out. So check it out, right? So look at this headline of this article, right? Did you see this? Fat Joe claims
he started recording an album with Biggie. Most of it Tupac disses.
Yes, look at that, before the passing, right? And obviously with the anniversary, the 24-year mark, right? March 9th. Isn't that crazy? How much would you pay to hear that? You know what I'm saying?
I want to know how many. I wonder how many records they did.
Yo, that's what I'm saying. Because just think about what we're doing. You know what I'm saying? And we're like, working in between. You know what I mean? Like, imagine if your entire job is just to record this kind of stuff.
Wow, Fat Joe and Biggie, that would have been crazy.
Just even if it's not just like, as done as it needs to be. It's just like, let's
just give us one.
Some acapellas or something. Yeah,
exactly.
Like,
give us one.
I was like, yo. And then the other big thing too, you've been following this whole Eminem cancel culture kind of thing.
I heard it from.
Yeah, I was telling you a little bit about it, but I don't know if you've checked it out since then. So Eminem basically he responded to people trying to cancel him, so he made a lyric video. You know what I'm saying? He made a lyric video like we've been talking about. So the deal being that it's like a cartoon. A lot of people can't get out and do a whole video, or maybe they don't want to. You know what I'm saying, with COVID or whatnot. So he made a response, and it was by the time I checked it, I had like 4.5 million views or something. And I think about like, hey, I got a lyric video out. It's got like the 0.0005 of those views. But you know what I mean? It's like, dude did a lyric video, and the thing is, I mean, it's well done, but it's like, but that whole the cancel thing is like, that's taking over the world right now. Everybody like, they shouldn't even say that term, or maybe, and then I don't know if you've been following this, but Cuomo in New York City, man, it has some allegations going on that he was improper with some of the staff, with the female staff. And so like AOC and people are trying to get him out of office right now. And so, it's, and so he's like, this is just cancel culture, so he's, and I'm thinking to myself, is he following Eminem's video? Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like,
yeah, you just see that?
Yeah.
It's fresh in his head.
Yeah. Not to say that's the first time that expression been out. Obviously it's been out for a while, but
yeah,
it's just like,
brought to surface.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's just that's my little take. Thanks, Rhonda, changing the narrative with this track, fella. Yeah, appreciate that. That's all. I just follow Jay's lead, man. He comes up with the instrumentals of Fury, and I'm like, yo, all right. I what I like about your process, I heard what you said too, your process of writing is that a lot of time, I don't even know where I heard you say this or see this. It was one of your videos I think you made, but you talk about how the name of the song, that when the producer gives you the name of the song, right? Like that will actually inspire you to go in that direction. That's funny, man. It's like, that's funny to me because a lot of times I don't even pay attention to those names, Once in a while, I've caught myself doing that because they're on point with the name. So for those of you who aren't MCs, producers making hundreds of beats, they just name them something quick, like whatever way the wind blows. I'll get 100 beats from like our man in Finland, right? Like we've been going through these beats from a man in Finland. I'm showing you like 3 of them, and I'm like, these are the names. And now I'm thinking about it, I'm like, yo, I can't be showing Jay the names. I gotta just
say the exact.
That's gonna turn into the prophecy.
Smart. Well, yeah, it's gonna turn into the prophecy
for real.
Look, let me tell you something. So because I my whole career, right? I mean, at first I wanted to be an R&B singer, just so you know.
That's what I heard you say on the same. This was on. Was it a Break It Down video you did? I can't remember.
So it was one of the TikTok things we was talking about.
TikTok things. That's what it was. Yes, it was TikTok video. Yes.
But that then transitioned into hip hop because I couldn't sing.
Right.
But my whole process with that is that I began producing, and when I would produce, I always had to title my beat. And it would sometimes take me a day or two to figure out what the beat's name was. You know what I mean? Yep. But it was like what I was feeling in my production stance that created that name. And the majority of producers I work with do the same thing. There's we're calling a grandma story, but grandma story. That's what they were
calling the
capturing.
Yeah. And isn't that crazy? And it's like, it's funny because I had the whole grandma thing ready to go. You know what I'm saying? And you were like, yo, remember when you told me that? You were like, yo, this grandma. And I was like, wait a minute. Don't even go there. Because I got this whole thing that I'm almost scared to write. That it's.
And then look at what's happening with it.
Yo, I said this to a preacher today. Like we were talking about the lyrics in that, right? And again, shout out to them. They, they're really, really feeling that particular track and what it could be, and he's like, yo, like I listen to your lyrics real deeply, and he's like, I listen to your lyrics in that track, and he's like, yo, you might even be able to shine brighter. Like you might even that's one that you're so personal on, right? Where it's probably not as much of your. He didn't say in this many words, but I think what he's meaning, right, where it's like I'm getting so into that topic that I'm not necessarily doing the typical stuff I'll do with the wordplay or whatever. You know what I mean? It's just like, yo, I got to tell you the story. But the behind the scenes is, and this is crazy, and this is a little deeper. So I wanted to say this because I've been saying I don't like saying it, but you've heard me allude to it a couple times maybe on the show. I have like 3 repeating dreams, yo. Like every single night. It's not like some of the time. It's all the time. It's some different manifestation of dream. And one of them, I'm always at my grandparents' house. You know what I'm saying? I am always at my grandparents' house. So those lyrics at the end, I talk about, and I say, and this isn't even real. I'm talking about Grandpa, he misses you, he sits in the chair, which is a lyric that I had years ago with our invasion stuff that I never wanted to say. Shout out to Sick Man and Presence on our song Roll the Rock. I say, cry myself to sleep daily since my grandmother died. So this is a callback to that line, that little mini sub hook that I do. But I didn't really want to get into that line at that time because it was too new for me. And since that time, it's like every night when I go to sleep, it's like one of my dreams. I remember my dreams a lot, and it's just like, yo, I'm in the front yard, I'm in the kitchen, I'm standing, I'm in the street next to the house looking at, I'll be walking down some street that's in Boston, and all of a sudden I'm in my front yard in Lowell. You know what I'm saying? Like, how did this happen? And it just recurs, and it's like that trauma of when someone's gone, right? And like your body doesn't necessarily agree with your soul. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, I know I'm not supposed to go there anymore, but my soul is like traveling to that place, you know, when I go to sleep, and I look forward to it, and my brain is able to shut off a part of me that doesn't necessarily know that they're gone. I'm sure many of you have had these kind of experiences before, those of you who can remember your dreams, right? But it's so deep because it's like I've seen the whole video for what this song will be, on at least on my end, right? The piece that I'm talking about, and it's from dreams, you know, it's from like in the dreams are manifested from thoughts that you have. So it's so deep how a song title that was just sort of on a whim for you sort of unlocked that for me. It was like, yo, I have to write on this, because again, hip hop is therapeutic, and it's like trauma therapy in a way, you know. It's like that's one of the traumas that I have, you know, obviously, because I dream about it. The other one is where my parents used to live, and another one is when I lived in Cambridge. I'm like on repeat. Those houses I'm always at. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I've told the people who it connects to, at least some of them, about how this happens, and it's like every day there's some different twisting of like I'm standing out in my backyard in my mom's house. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, you're like, what is that about? You know, like why am I in the backyard all of a sudden? You know, like
yeah, bro.
Know? Or in the other house, and it's like, yo, we deal with stuff.
This is a perfect example of like destiny, coincidence, right? I mean, I told Drix, I said, Drix, imagine if y'all didn't name the song that.
It's our arguably best song that we've made, you know?
Right, and it's only because of that. So
that name.
To me, yeah, and it's funny because I was talking to M. Dot, I'm like, AKA Jake LaDotta by his production name, and I guess the industry standard for most producers is it's like beat number.
Yeah, right.
It, right.
Or some blah 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 title, like
yeah, you know, and again,
beat one, crispy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right.
yeah.
I want to say that literally every producer, that my core production prior to like, you know, the extensions of like Nico and DJ Mech and stuff like that, they always hit me with the titles all the time. So he would send me that, and I was like, bro, you don't title your stuff? Like I need that title kind of thing, right? I want it. And then he started doing that. So I'm like, all right, word. Now I got the title, and it gives me a vibe. And, you know, that doesn't necessarily mean that that's always what it's going to be, but it's like a good 80% of the time, that's what it is, you know?
Well, there's a reason that people name what they do, you know, like it evokes that emotion in them. And when you're able to tap into emotions, I mean, that's really what a lot of this is about. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's you. I always say, people ask me my process, right? Writing, if I'm doing like a workshop or I'm talking to students or something, all age students, right? They'll say like, you know, the same kind of thing we're talking about, like how do you come up with what you come up with, whatever. I love writing to a track. I mean, about 70% of the time I write to a track, you know, when I have the tracks that I want to get done. But I just free write as well too. But when I'm writing to a track, I just love being the voice for what the instrumental would say if it could talk. You know what I mean? And it's, you know, this thing always irritates me in hip hop is that it always has to be like there's this make pretend kind of thing that it always has to be like the whole real thing. Like, we got to keep it real. It's like, why? No, we don't have to keep it real. It's an escape in the first place, right? Yes, like that song is real, but even in the real, you're picking and choosing what things you're reporting on at any given time. So it's like a sub reality. It's a, you know, I mean, it's like a alternate reality almost, you know, and it's this pressure to MCs to keep it real. We have to be authentic. That's cool. That's just honestly, that's just the trend. You know what I'm saying? It's just a trend that has hit hip hop and forces hip hop to be in this little tiny box where we can't write about like fantasy, or we can't write about, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. And I think there's too, you know, in my sense, right? Because that whole philosophy of keep it real, that word, your bond, you know, word is bond, things like that. That's built into my DNA, right?
Yep.
And I see exactly where you're coming from, because what's the definition of real? And you know what I did was I defined it as being real through goodness, right? The stuff you know is good is keeping it real with you. If you're doing so, like there was so many times in situations where I was quote unquote keeping it real and my stomach was turning.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
I don't want to do this, man. I'm keeping it real, but yo, I don't want to get caught.
It's too much pressure. Yeah.
Right. And you keeping it real though. Nah. That's not the real. The real is trust your gut and say, yo, peace out. I'm not messing with this. That's keeping it real. That's the true definition of keeping it real. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Keeping it real is keeping it how you feel. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It isn't necessarily what happened to you yesterday. That's just factual reporting. That's not saying anything to the state of your mind. You know what I mean? And to the state of your state of your mind can reflect in a song that has nothing to do with it. I could use, like, I'm looking at juggling balls on my table. I could use the juggling balls as a metaphor to be about something else, and I'm not even speaking on the something else directly. You know what I mean? So it's like. It's but again, that's what dreams will do, right? Dreams will create this reality for you that is not reality, so that your brain sometimes can work it out, you know, and work on that subconscious or whatever. And a lot of it's like traumatizing situation. I know in my case, it's 3 very traumatized. When my grandmother died, I didn't come in the house for a week. You know, I was living in Cambridge at the time. I couldn't even speak to anybody. Like, I was doing things I never dreamed that I would do. Like, I would just stay in my car. You know, like I would just drive randomly and like, or maybe I'd go visit someone I hadn't seen in years, or try, you know, just starting conversation for no reason. I'm not a big talker to people I don't even know, and I was just like taking on people that I wouldn't even, you know, like I'm gonna go to the movies and then, you know, talk to the person at the concession stand about life, you know, just like weird stuff. You know what I mean? Just because you can't even process, like normally, you know, and
trying to get your mind off of it any way you can.
Yeah, and then there's guilt, you know what I'm saying? Like when someone passes, you know, in Preacher we were talking about the same thing. It's like when someone passes and you didn't do everything that you could have done. Like I remember, you know, I dipped back to Boston or Cambridge or whatever, and you know, my grandmother was going through what she's going through, and I'm like, all right, how many times can I drive up there? You know what I'm saying? If I would stay for a little bit and then get back, and then you're playing it through in your head, and you're like, I should have been there an hour earlier. Why did I have to go do the Professor Lyrical thing or whatever, or the lyrical, whatever it was at the time, you know, like, is it really important? You know what I mean? And it's that you play those games over and over in your head, and then, you know, it can manifest itself maybe years later in a song, or maybe, you know, and if you don't have that outlet, that's what Mazi was talking about. It's like this whole thing, like arts as an expression, you know, when that's gone, man, it's tough for people to even process. And then when you can connect it to your livelihood, like that's the beautiful thing. Like people, I don't know about you, but I feel for years, right, we had the keep it real thing meant don't even make money from what you're doing, right? That was the other thing, right? Don't be a sellout. Remember that in like in the early 90s, it was like, yo, whatever you do, look like you're as broke as possible. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. How real you're keeping it. Don't be shiny until P. Diddy came with the shiny suits and stuff, right? But keep it like almost grungy, right? And don't look like you're trying to make any kind of commercial profit of it. And I'm like, nah, it's completely the opposite. And I've never thought that's a bad thing. It's like eating off of your art is one of the most beautiful things you can do in the world. If you can, you know, live a better life or live completely off of your art, you know, that's living the dream. And that's why I'm so, like, whenever I make a track or whatever, I don't care if it goes like bazillion or whatever. Just the fact that somebody has purchased that or somebody's downloaded it and it's contributed to my life and I got to express myself. Are you kidding me? That's like amazing. And of course you want to maximize it, but it's like, even if it does nothing, you know, like if you sell, you know, if a song has 1,000 streams or views on a video, whatever, yeah, it's 1,000 people that actually shared in that process with you. That's amazing, you know. So
yeah, man, and it's one person at a time. That one person at a time, because, you know, we talk about the regrets and all that. How regret can be looked at as a complete negative, when in actuality it can be a great tool. For raising awareness. Like you said it perfectly when you were saying, you know, I could have, should have, could have, would have, right?
Yeah.
You can stay dwelling in that, or you can say, wow, I'm not going to run into that wall again.
That's right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that kind of stuff is what projects you into your level of appreciation for things, the simple things. It's like if someone's going to tell you, yo, you're going to be dead in 2 days.
You're going to max out those 2 days.
Yeah, like you're looking at a tree different.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? You're breathing. It's everything's changed. So it's like, do you want to wait for that to happen, or you make it happen now? Like, you know, appreciate the little things, you know?
And that's what having kids does, man. It makes it so clear. It's like, yo, I must maximize every second with my little one. And when he's not little, too, it's like, yo, how can I? Yeah. You know, when you've had something stolen away from you, you know what I'm saying? When it feels like it's cut short, you know? it's only then when you get some real clarity. Hopefully, right? You get that clarity.
And that's it. And then acting on that clarity.
Mm.
You know, because today, as an example, I'm human, man. I was like, all right, I'm gonna get A, B, C, D done real quick as possible. And I'm like, I got to get this done.
These are flashcards. What are we talking about? ABC?
No.
You were just giving me. You weren't filling in. I got you. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I was like, because you was
checklist.
talking about ABC the other day with Remy.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm there now.
And today, like normally throughout the week, I'm doing my thing, and this it's beautiful. I do my thing with my kids, but I was like, I got to get A, B, C, D done today.
Yep.
And I did all that, but I missed going outside with Remy and my wife and my daughter. I missed that because I chose to get this done, which I could. Yeah, exactly. It is. But then I justify it and say, okay, well, at least I was good throughout this week. But what am I going to do? I have to do certain things. So the regret of that could be in the front, or I could just say, okay, next day, tomorrow, we're going to make sure we spend extra time.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're going to make more time.
I played football 4 different times with my son today, like outside, right? Every time he gets a brain break, he's like, Daddy, can we go throw the football? I'm like, how can I say no? You know what I'm saying? Right. It's like, sometimes I'm like, okay, we're going out very quickly, you know what I'm saying, or whatever.
Yeah. It's difficult.
Yeah, man, it's difficult. They look at you, they're like, please, and I'm like, okay, like, yeah, like, of course I want to. I'm thrilled that you would ask me to play. And realizing how lucky you are, right? And I'm like you said, I'm looking at the tree in front of me as we're playing, and I'm like, I'm probably going to be looking at this someday and thinking about when we were playing football right here, right now, and it's just like, why would I not, do that? But life is life, and
that's a very challenging. I mean, especially being OCD. I don't know, maybe not for you, but for me, is like really being in the moment. Can be like this show is great because I'm in the moment with this, but I'm not thinking about anything else except what we're doing. But I find myself a lot of times, if I have things that haven't been completed or stuff that I'm like, I got to get done, my mind just wants to wander over there.
I'm there.
It takes a lot of effort, and it's a training process, because we're always going to be having that. But to be able to train it to say, okay, when I go outside, like as soon as you start veering off, you reel it back in.
Do you mean as an example? Would you like to see it? You mean like when we're working on this document behind the scenes, and we're like, we got to get the lyrics looking right? Like today, I was like, Quo was working on that. I got to make sure that I catch up to at least. And I justified stopping because that's where you had left it. And I was like, I do want to go fill in all the other tracks, but I'm gonna stop. That let me stop. I was like, but I couldn't. It's like folding clothes, dog. Like I can't just look at like half the clothes and fold them. I'll look at them and be like, in my head, I'll go downstairs and I'll be like, half those clothes are still not folded.
Like, and you can't move. It's like gonna stay there and beat you up until you do it.
Yeah.
But then it's about prioritizing. So it was great doing the document because it was the first time in like a couple weeks where I had the headphones off.
Right.
The other day, Remy was like, she was trying to get my attention. I had the beats blazing, and she just ripped them off my face, bro. Right. And she's like, Daddy,
Henry does it to me too. He'll go, I don't want you on that, like to me, like he uses the language that we'll use to him sometimes, like every now and then we'll say, Henry, we don't want you to get addicted to the computer. He'll go, Daddy, I think you're addicted to the Pro Quo Show. And the Pro Quo Show to him pretty much is his euphemism for anything like
that's related.
Yeah, like it could be making a Pro Quo song as the Pro Quo Show. Yeah. If I'm using my computer, he wants to now come look at what I'm doing, like he's checking me like, I hope you're doing work. Like I hope it's work. Like you better be writing a work email for your job. I'm like, but it's 8 o'clock. I don't care. It's like he's like he goes, you have your quota. You know what I'm saying? So they're right. They're right.
It is, and it's a thing. Like I mean, she ripped them off and they hit the ground and everything. And my instinct was literally, wow, baby, like I'm sorry.
I know.
No anger at all. Yeah. It was like I deserve.
That's not always my instinct.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, don't touch my headphones.
Yeah, no, that's how
my son comes in here and he's like, let me grab this mic. I'm like, slow down, Tiger.
Oh yeah, the microphone I'd be a little different. I'm like, you better not. That's why I had to start putting it away because she was starting to get a little curious.
Yeah.
So
I had to set him straight when he came in here too, and he was like starting to take everything. I was like, no, it doesn't go on over there. You do not go over there without telling me. He's like, okay. And that's why I got stuff like this hanging around. I was like, you can go play with the juggling balls over there. Take that off my desk,
Right.
So
I know I can't wait for that process where now, getting the kids to be comfortable on the mic, even if they don't do anything with it. It's almost like what, Mazi was saying, just like giving them that experience, that exposure, the opportunity to see it.
Like a perfect example, Henry was inspired by Ski when he met Ski, and he watches sometimes Ski's videos. Shout out to Ski, by the way. He was in here a couple times checking out stuff. But he's got all the big button presses, you know what I'm saying, like MPCs and stuff like that. And so my son, unprovoked by me, other than we're just sitting here playing with some beats and stuff, he said, Daddy, I want to get one of those apps that has all the beat machines with all the bright colors. And I showed him this kid. There was a video floating around the internet. This kid was like 6 or something, making incredibly dope beats. I don't know if y'all saw that, but they were like really nice. And his mom is like, yo, like, are you seeing it? Like, she's sitting in the car. She's like, you made this all yourself? And he's like, uh-huh. And he's like doing it on the thing. So Henry, showing enough, was on the floor. We put the app on the phone, and he's like, and it's sounding pretty good, and they have no experience on it. And it's just kind of, just sort of what feels
beat making is, that's to me, the only downside to this music stuff, right, that we seem to forget that we will know 20, 30 years from now is how important it is to make sure that you protect your ears.
Yes.
And these Dre beats are great, but they're not like, I bought a pair of, I think they were like $1,200, right? And they had this special plate that helped. It says it in the thing, like,
what did you say they were called? Which headphones do you have?
These are the Dre beats. Those other ones I'll get for the next show.
Which ones?
Oh yeah, right. Actually, they're not. What are they still called? Dre beats with the?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Or they might not be, but there could be an unofficial sponsorship right there.
Did you say Apple. Dre Beats?
I believe I did. Dre Beats.
You gotta hold it. Did you say Dre Beats?
Jeez.
All right.
But yeah, man, and it's said on the thing when I bought it in the information that it helps reduce that long-term effect of basically hurting your eardrums.
Dre knows about being in court right now too, by the way. Dre. Yeah.
That's I do know issue. About that. Yeah.
That's another issue.
But yeah, pay attention, man. Keep your stuff low, conversation level, because the long-term effects of that, you don't want to be able to not listen to your music when you're in your 60s without having a damn
absolutely
hearing aids in,
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're about to wrap up another edition of the Pro Quo Show.
Yeah. Great edition, Mazi. Again, thank you so much for coming. I am really
we saw your comments excited. Too backstage. Definitely, man. Definitely. Dope stuff, man.
Oh yeah, I'm just seeing that now.
Salute.
Great, man.
We apologize for the comment situation we had early, but we hope y'all check this out. I hope you're checking this out on your Saturday morning. We know a lot of y'all watch the show on Saturday mornings. We see the numbers really rise on Saturday morning. So, if you're enjoying your Saturday morning right now, you're rocking with Pro Quo, we thank you, and we hope to hear from you. Don't wait till Friday. You can hit us up. You know how to find us, so hit us up. Tell us more what you want to see, what you want to hear on the Pro Quo Show, and we'll try to accommodate as best we can. But if it's stupid, We'll be like, no, we can't do that. You dummy. No.
Yeah, sure, Teach.
Be like, that's dumb.
There's no
dumb
question.
answer, right? Yeah. No, actually, there are. There are quite a few. Right? Rhonda, right? You can be my witness, right? There were some dumb questions, right? Like, the dumb question is, all right, I'm not even going to.
Don't give it to them. Don't give it to them because they might throw it back in our face.
I'll give you a dumb question. It's when you're asking me something that you didn't need to ask me, right? Like, you're just saying it to hear yourself in some cases, right? Like, and that's cool that you want to be heard or whatever, but it's like there's certain things that can position you in a way that you don't really want to be positioned. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying,
especially with a battle rapper,
there's no customers wrong. These are just like little truisms that people like to say that aren't true. Like, the customer's always right. The customer's not always right. The customer's like anything but right a lot of times, right?
That was a Fidelity motto.
Yeah, man, the customer's not always right. Like, who came up with that, right? Like, the customer's definitely not always right. If a customer right now wants to buy your album, they go, yo, I want to buy your album. And, I want it to, I know it's coming out in 6 weeks, but I want it today. Is the customer right? No, the customer's like,
you know why
I'm the customer. It's like, come on, man. No,
the reason why that companies, especially like Fidelities, right?
We're almost wrapping it up.
Yeah,
but preach. I
almost.
want to
We're
hear
close to it. The level of when you take that de-escalation process, right, and you say the customer's always right,
right.
it enhances the okay, we're going to de-escalate
Yeah,
because we don't want. If you don't have that philosophy,
right.
now your escalations rise up because you're like, yo, man, forget
Yeah.
you. You know what I'm saying?
I had the issues. I had the issues, and by the way, we would rent cars to Fidelity. As a rental-car manager, when I was in Enterprise, where people would come in and they berate the customers, right? They berate my employees. You're not right when you come. Like this whole, you know what I'm saying? Like when you're running a business, your employees, I'm sorry, are more important than your customer. I'm sorry. If your employees don't want to work for you and you got a company that relies on your employees, how can you tell me the customer's always right when they're pitted directly against your employee? You know what I mean? So
And
you
you
ain't going to
notice
come into and insult my employees for no reason just because you are feeling like a peon at your company because the boss is
Damn
poo-pooing
straight.
on you, and then you're going to come in and do it to someone who you find is lower on the pecking order. It's like, get out of here, man.
Yeah, you
That's-
boxing with them.
Yeah, absolutely.
But and that's the thing. What they do is that is really designed for the front line. As you escalate, now that philosophy changes.
Yeah.
You see, if you go from frontline call person to supervisor to manager, you are most likely never going to get to the director.
Absolutely. Like I was a manager I was a branch manager, right? We had like maybe at maximum like 13 people. Some people like doing car prepping and rental reps and some trainees, right? Whatever. But you got 13 people that report to you essentially, right? And
Yeah.
the thing is that if one of them sees that you're going to let that fly, you know, then it's like you become someone they don't necessarily want to work for. If you're just kind of like, okay, the customer's always right, and they can just come down and do whatever they want to do, and that isn't cool. But for me, what would happen is I would just train my sort of. I think it's where you're going with that. I would say, yo, you're the first line of defense, right? And if somebody's coming in and they're just crazy talk and they're coming out like out their mouth, and they're coming out like, oh, this car was awful and I want it free and all this stuff. First of all, they ain't getting anything free. Like they might get something free in the future, but like I'm just like, think about it. If you're the manager of this business, right? If someone comes in and they were like, I want my thing free. They came to buy something from you. They might have been dissatisfied with something, but most people just want to be heard and be acknowledged. They don't really necessarily think that free is fair. Like really? Fair? Because your rear view mirror wasn't working perfectly and you rented a $150 car and now you think it's free? Like, come on, dude. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'll tell you what, I'll give you a free day next time you come in to rent, you know what I'm saying? Or a free upgrade, you know what I'm saying? But giving you free, that's how businesses go out of business too. Is the customer might have thought free was right, and I was like, yeah, you know what, the customer, you can say you can't do that, you got to go check with the manager, whatever, but I'll be like, hey, Mr. Cruz, how you doing? You know what I mean? I'm so sorry about that mirror. I can imagine how frustrating that's got to be. You know, I didn't catch it, and none of the people here, we caught it. I'm not even sure what happened, but you know what? It could have happened when you're out there, but I'm going to assume it was on us. So, you know, next time you come in, I'm going to put you on an upgrade. We're going to make sure when you come in, just ask for me. I'm just going to take care of it right away. You know, that's what people want. You know what I mean? They don't. Some people
it's called
that are gaming it
all day. De-escalate. I was
right.
a de-escalation.
Except people that are gaming it. Oh, you were a de-escalation cat? That was your job? I
was so good. I had one escalation, which means
it's the smile. It's the J. Cruz smile.
No, I was on the phone, bro.
Oh, all right. Well, you were smiling through the phone waves.
Yeah, exactly. It's the energy. I'm telling you. But that whole thing, it's how you think is going to be presented. So as soon as that person, if they're exploding and you let them hit you with that explosion, and you show that you just got hit by it, you're done.
Absolutely. Yes, Carly J. And Rhonda. Absolutely. No, it's like that was just my reality. And yeah, I would keep the nice, happy kind of thing almost all the time until it went to you start berating the employees. It's like, all right, now you can go.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? It's like, now you can go. You don't need to come back. We're good. You know what I'm saying? You get to that line. And your employees need to see that from you. They need to see that the person that's that last line of defense isn't gonna deal with that. You know,
definitely.
We had people coming in accusing our employees of like sabotaging the cars and stuff. It's like, come on, yo. It's like, you know, it's like, in this day and age too, man. Imagine that. You know what I'm saying? I just think about how stuff spreads in the internet and just, conspiracy theory in general. You know how I am with that. You know what I'm saying? But I had to get that in.
All right, boys and girls. So we out of here. Appreciate each and every one of y'all for tuning in to the Pro Quo Show.
Yep, we out. Pro
We out.
and Quo.
Peace, y'all.